Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Passion from Pain, the space where we strip away the fake healing narratives and talk about what it really takes to rebuild life from the ashes. And today's episode is not for the faint of heart, as usual. It's for those who've crawled out of hell thinking that was the end, only to realize the battle wasn't quite over, right? It's for those who've had to start over not once, not twice, but again and again and again and again, and are still standing, even when it doesn't feel like strength at all. Because that's what this one's about, the fall after the fall, the part of the journey nobody glamorizes, nobody talks about, right? The part that breaks you down and somehow teaches you to rise differently. So if you've ever wondered, how many times can I really keep getting back up? This episode is for you. This is Passion from Pain, and this is your reminder. Okay. You've been getting back up your entire damn life, and you're not done yet. You're not done yet. So you know what nobody tells you about leaving a toxic situation, about leaving an unhappy situation, just leaving something that you are not thrilled with in your life. They don't tell you that getting out is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. They don't tell you that you're going to be knocked down again and again and again and again, and probably a few more times after that. And here's the part that really pisses me off about this whole thing and society is that they act like once you leave a toxic relationship, the abusive situation, the narcissistic hellscape, you're supposed to just dust yourself off and maybe go to therapy and do some yoga and boom, healed, you're fixed, moving on, next. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's not how it works. It's not what happens, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, the reality check of leaving the situation. So let's get real about what standing back up actually looks like when you're rebuilding from the rubble. It's not some Instagram worthy phoenix rising from the ashes moment. It's messy. It's you 3 months out, finally feeling like you can breathe again, and then you run into them in the grocery store and spend the next week in bed because your nervous system just went into full meltdown mode. Okay. It's getting that job, that apartment, that fresh start you worked so damn hard for. Then your brain decides to remind you of every terrible thing you've said at about 3 a.m. It's standing back up, taking 2 steps forward, getting blindsided by a trigger you didn't even know you had, and hitting the ground again. And here's what I need you to hear. You listening? Listen carefully, okay? That's not failure. That is not failure. That's the process. That's the process they don't tell you about. Why? Because they're trying to sell you something, a service, a therapy, a program, a book, something. They don't tell you that, right? They don't tell you that the people who tried to break you, they sold you a story that you were fragile, okay? That you were weak, you couldn't make it without them, and that you'd crumble. But here's what they didn't count on. You've been getting back up your entire life. Think about it. How many times did you get back up while you were still in your crappy situation? How many mornings did you wake up after a brutal night and still show up? How many times did they knock you down emotionally, mentally, maybe physically, and you still found a way to keep going? You've been training for this your whole life. You just didn't know it. The difference now, now when you stand back up, you're not going to stand back up to the same cage. Okay? You're not going to go into the same cage. You're standing back up into your life. The one that you're building now. The one that they don't get to touch. And those people who knocked you down in the first place, the ones who told you you were too sensitive, too dramatic, too broken, they're probably watching, hoping that you'll fail. Yeah. Hoping you'll come crawling back to them. That's what they want. Let them watch. Let them watch. Let them see you fall and get back up. Fall and get back up. Fall and get back up, because every single time you do, you're proving them wrong. But you're not proving them wrong to them. Screw them. Screw them. They're out of our lives, right? They don't matter anymore. You're proving them wrong to yourself. You're building up the evidence to yourself and building up that resilience and strength. Building up the evidence so that you can finally start to believe and see what you're really made of and what you've been capable of this whole time, what you've been doing this whole time, but didn't even realize that's what you were doing. So stuck in survival mode, you couldn't see how awesome you really were getting back up every single time you were knocked down. So you're building that evidence for yourself. Okay. They tried to convince you that you couldn't survive without them. And look at you. Still breathing, still standing, still fighting, still here. Dude, I mean, come on. So here's what I want you to know, okay? Because here's what I know about you. I know this about us, okay? I know this about you because I know this about us, survivors. You didn't leave because it was easy. You left because staying was killing you. And that took more strength than most people will ever have to summon their entire lives. But now you're in this weird in-between space. Okay. You're out, but you're not healed. You're free, but you're exhausted. You're safe, but you're triggered. You're building, but some days it feels like you're building on quicksand. Right? It's just crumbling out from under your feet. That's normal. It is totally normal. There's nothing wrong with you or your process or anything. This is the normal part of healing and rebuilding a life without them, without the toxicity, without the negativity, without the bullshit. This is what it looks like. This is the part that nobody talks about. Why? Because this doesn't sell. It's not fancy. It's not glittery. It's not the big prize at the end of the rainbow. It's not the cash bag and the Lamborghini. This is the raw, messy truth. And raw, messy truth doesn't sell. It doesn't. Okay. Remember that recovery is not linear. I say it over and over and over again on this show. And so do many of the guests. They come on and go, oh, yeah, no, it ain't a straight path from point A to point B. Okay. Remember that. That's huge. Healing is not a straight line from broken to whole. It's 1,000 tiny battles. Some you'll win and some you'll lose. Some days you'll feel like a warrior princess or a warrior king. You'll come in swinging them swords and just slaying your day, right? And other days you're going to feel like you're barely surviving, like you're being crushed under the weight of the battle. Okay. And both are true. Both are valid, and both are part of standing back up. Okay. So let's reframe what getting knocked down again actually means. Actually, it looks like. Okay. It doesn't mean you're going backwards. Okay, it doesn't mean the work you've done doesn't count. In fact, it is the furthest thing from the truth. It doesn't mean that you're broken beyond repair. It means you're human. You're a human. You're a person with normal person human quirks and things. You've got the things that you're good at, things you're bad at, the wins, the losses, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's part of being a human. It means you survived something that was meant to destroy you. It was designed to destroy you, and you survived it. It means your nervous system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Protect you from the threat it learned to recognize. Okay? Getting knocked down is not the problem. Staying down is the problem. Can't do that. We're done doing that, right? We're not going to do that. And you know what? You don't stay down. Because that's not who you are. That's not what survivors do, right? We get back up. Maybe not immediately. It's okay. And maybe, sure as hell, not gracefully. Maybe not with our heads held high and our makeup perfect. And our lives together. Okay? But we get back up. We get back up. And here's the beautiful, brutal truth that emerges from all of this getting knocked down and standing back up. You discover strength that you didn't know existed inside of you. Not the kind of strength they talk about on motivational posters. The ones with the pretty backgrounds, the beautiful pictures, with the truly inspiring and motivational words. The kind that you see in your therapist's office. I'm talking about real strength. The kind that shows up at 2 a.m. when you're having a panic attack and you talk yourself through it instead of picking up the phone and calling them. Okay. The kind that says, I'm not okay today, and asks for help. The kind that sets a boundary even though you are shaking and terrified of the consequences that come from setting that boundary. Okay. Every time you stand back up, you're not just recovering, you're discovering. You're finding out who you actually are when you're not performing, when you're not surviving, when you're not people-pleasing your way through life. And that person, the one you're discovering underneath the trauma and the conditioning and the survival mechanisms, okay, that person is stronger than anything they ever threw at you. Let that sit for a minute. Think about what that really means and looks like. Think about all the times that they threw their crap at you. And now look at what you're going through and how you're surviving and how you're getting through it and how you're doing all the things to show up for you and rebuild. That's stronger than anything they tried to destroy you with. Wow. So here's what I want you to do. The challenge. Okay? Stop measuring your recovery by how many times you get knocked down. Start measuring it by how many times you get back up. Because that number, that's the one that matters. That's your strength. That is your resilience. That's your middle finger to everyone who said you couldn't do this. contraire, yes, I can. Because I have. And I will again. You're going to get knocked down again. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe by something you can't even see coming yet. Chances are you will. That's life. Okay. But you're also going to get back up again. And not because you're healed, and not because you're fixed, and not because you've done every therapy or read enough self-help books or cut through enough toxic people. You're going to get back up because that's who you are. And that's what you do. It's who you are now. It's who you always have been. They just didn't see it, didn't realize it. In this season of Passion from Pain, we're not pretending that this is a pretty process, okay? We're not sugarcoating the rebuild. We're talking about the real stuff, the messy, the complicated, the beautiful, brutal truth about what it takes to stand back up when life has knocked the hell out of you, okay? Because I know you're not here for the fairy tales. The fairy tales have done you such a disservice. You're here for the truth. You're here for the honest healing. Because all that other stuff is just noise and distraction and keeps you hooked so much longer than you need to be. Why? It's designed that way to keep you buying the books, to keep you buying the courses, to keep you buying the programs, to keep you buying the therapies. The truth is what will set you free, period. And that's what we deliver here, is the honest truth about healing. And if you're ready for that, follow us along. I have so much to put out here for you guys to help you on this journey. So many experts, so many stories from survivors who have walked the path of hell and have crawled their way back and lived to tell the tale. And they're telling it to you. Not because they want to be in the spotlight, because they want to help. They lived it, they understand it, they experienced it, and they know the way out. They discovered the truth, and they want to help. They want to help shorten that miserable experience for everybody else, as many people as they can. So make sure you're following along. True expert advice, true survivor advice. Deep dives that you're not going to get anywhere else, and brutal honesty you're just not going to see on any other platform. Okay? You're not here for the fairy tales. We're not going to give you fairy tales. We're going to give you truth, because that's what you're here for, and that is what will set you free. And here's the truth. You are stronger than you think. Way tougher than they said and led you to believe, and more resilient than you'll ever imagine. Okay? Keep getting back up, because that's the whole game. I love you guys. I'm going to see you in the next episode, but this is going to be a beautiful ride. I'll make sure you're following along. Make sure you're commenting. Make sure you're joining in on the discussions, because the healing happens in the discussions too. Connecting, communicating, reaching out. Put in the comments where you are at on your healing journey. Connect with somebody who is there too. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next episode.